You betrayed our cause, the freedom we stand for as chaos magicians.
Come on, dude, you're just making this up.
The Ice Magick War. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Angela Puca and welcome to my symposium. I'm a PhD and a university lecturer, and this is your online resource for the academic study of magic, paganism, shamanism and all things occult. This episode's content is sourced from a recent peer-reviewed publication by Dr. Bernd Christian Otto and will focus on the so-called Ice Magick War, which caused the major schism within the Chaos Magick order of the Illuminates of Thanateros, also known as the IoT. This publication is open access and will be referenced in the info box. As you may remember from a past episode on the IoT, even though the inception of the order is believed to coincide with that of Chaos Magick, which took place as a result of the works published by Carroll and Sherwin, the IoT took form and became operative in 1986 thanks to a public seminar held in Germany. The main protagonists of that event were Peter J. Carroll and Ralph Tegtmeier, also known as Frater U. And as we will see, they will also be the main characters in the schism of the order. Otto highlights that there are always two sides of the story in an event such as this one, and that it's essential for a proper understanding of the event to address them both. The term Ice Magick War echoes Peter Carroll's essay, The Ice War, and the definition of ice magic theorized by Ralph Tegtmeier in his homonymous book. Indeed, in Ice Magick, Tegtmeier conceptualizes a form of magic able to do the impossible. He emphasizes that there is no geographical nor ideological connotation to the employment of the term ice, and that it is used here as a metaphor for something that actually does not exist. The idea of magic that could achieve the impossible derived from Tegtmeier's experiences with his teacher Helmut Barthel, who, according to Tegtmeier, could perform incredible deeds with his martial art techniques. Deeds that were usually called magic by laymen, but that go beyond the common understanding of the word. Hence why the concept of ice magic. Now, in Peter Carroll's version of the story, the conflict began during the third AGM, or International Pact meeting, in 1989, when Tegtmeier told his then friend Carroll about the aforementioned incredible deeds of Barthel, provoking Carroll's criticism. In the year between the third and the fourth AGM, an increasing number of members of the German section began to sympathize with the Barthel-Tegtmeier approach, leading Carroll to believe that Tegtmeier had actively attempted to lead a section of the pact into it. Carroll then publicly decided to denounce Frater U for abusing his position and for fostering a right-wing mind control cult with a despicable agenda. The Ice Magick philosophy appeared to Carroll as a grim and paranoid Luthian atavism, which might have had a ghastly consequences if it had spread through the fabric of Western esotericism. There are overall 5 reasons behind Carroll's concerns. First, Tegtmeier's alleged adoption of the ultra-right-wing agenda. Second, his shift towards secrecy. Third, his shift towards hierarchical dictatorial forms of leadership. Fourth, Tegtmeier's and Barthel's abuse of power and the alleged threats to punish members, which would have undermined the magical freedom and individualism the IoT stood for. And fifth, Tegtmeier's alleged attempt to take over the entire IoT, thus disempowering Carroll. So, for Carroll, Ice Magick seemed to contradict or undermine basic pillars of the IoT, particularly its anti-hierarchical, anti-secret, anti-dogmatic agenda. Before the fourth AGM, which took place in August 1990, at the same Austrian castle as the third AGM, Carroll sent memos to all section heads mentioning his serious concerns. As a response, Tegtmeier, who was also organizing the event, first tried to stop Carroll from coming to the castle, only to re-invite him later. According to Carroll, over the following days, both he and Tegtmeier tried to persuade participants to join their respective sides, leading to the formation of various conspiracies, factions, and private briefings among the 40+ magicians present. There was seemingly no physical confrontation between the two, but some kind of magical battle in a local tavern where the last one to leave would be victorious. And Carroll, according to his own narrative, was the last one standing. Interesting to notice that this event never happened according to Tegtmeier. In any case, the schism had been established. In the aftermath of said AGM, Tegtmeier led several German members plus the UK section head and his other half to the Ice bunker. Carroll claimed that Tegtmeier had done a deal with the Ice Lord, who would be Barthel, to bring him more people in return for sharing some of his absolute authority over them and for getting Ice Magick teachings. Carroll allegedly engaged in practices of hostile long-distance magic for quite some time and tried to acquire sympathizers, eventually persuading the Austrian section leader to prevent Tegtmeier's participation in the forthcoming 5th AGM. Since several Tegtmeier sympathizers proclaimed themselves in charge of the order, Carroll stipulated an agreement with the remaining loyal section heads to excommunicate Tegtmeier. Neither Tegtmeier nor other ice magicians attended the 5th AGM in Austria. According to Carroll, this is when the war ended, with casualties of about 30% of members, including most of the Swiss and the Germans. However, Tegtmeier's version is remarkably different. He stated in a few interviews that there was a major dispute with Carroll, but that he never intended to take over the IoT, nor abolish its great structures or establish authoritarian or secretive principles of leadership. On the contrary, Tegtmeier had announced to step down as head of the German section before the fourth pact meeting in 1990, where he actually did so, according to the Council of the Magi. Moreover, the Swiss and Austrian satrapies, who used to have Tegtmeier as their leader, became independent sections with new section heads during the fourth pact meeting. Thus, Tegtmeier technically gave up his leadership of the German section, which had previously included Austria and Switzerland, at the very meeting during which Carroll accused him of yearning for more power within the order. Tegtmeier claims that he never felt comfortable as the leader or spearhead of a magical grouping, hence why he rejected various offers to become Grand Master of the Fraternitas Saturni, a group he is still involved with today. As a result of Carroll's excommunications, Tegtmeier founded, along with about 75 German members of the German section, a schismatic spin-off named Revolutionary IoT, without being its leader, but rather a regular member. Tegtmeier also emphasized that neither he nor Barthel nor any members of the German section were entrenched with political right-wing ideologies. In fact, they were rather committed to socialist ideas, while the majority of the members of the German section were either politically disinterested or leaning towards the Green and or other leftish liberal parties. For Tegtmeier, the schism was really a result of misunderstandings, anti-German prejudices, and paranoia, along with a dispute over the Ice Magick theoretical approach. Otto maintains that Tegtmeier's teacher Barthel did pursue an authoritarian type of leadership and made his disciples witness the extent of his powers in martial arts and magic. This is possibly the reason that eventually led Tegtmeier to split up with Barthel, although he mentioned this was actually due to personal reasons. According to Tegtmeier, the IoT lost 80% of its members in the Schism, as opposed to the 30% in Carroll's version. In an email statement dating to the year 2000, Tegtmeier argues that Carroll had a severe personal crisis and points to alleged symptoms of depression and of schizoid paranoia, and that the only magical war he ever waged with this organization was the psychotic blitz in his own head. To sum it up in Otto's words, from Tegtmeier's perspective, it was Carroll who undermined the liberal agenda of the IoT due to his attempt to suppress Ice Magick's theoretical and practical approach, his inability to accept other different views, his illegitimate excommunication of pact members, including Tegtmeier, and his attempt to regain control over the IoT by bringing into line members leveraging on an imagined right-wing agenda. To conclude, after the events described here, both Carroll and Tegtmeier secluded themselves more or less simultaneously from the IoT. Tegtmeier never actually resigned from the order, but after founding the revolutionary IoT, he lost interest in what he now sees as the old pact. This is it for today's video. Thanks for staying with me until this point. This project can only exist thanks to your help. And so if you like my content and want me to keep the academic fun going, please consider supporting my work with a one-off PayPal donation by joining memberships or my inner symposium on Patreon, where you will get access to our Discord server, monthly lectures, and lots of other perks depending on your chosen tier. And if you did like this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell so that you will always be notified when I upload a new video, share the video with your friends, and let me know what you think in the comments, because I always like to engage with you guys. So thank you so much for being here, and stay tuned for all the academic fun. Bye for now.